Hola, me llamo Joe. Esta la cerca de vinil. Bradford. Was it just cerca vinil or cerca? Well, is that what you say? Or you say cerca de vinil? Hola, me llamo Joe. Esta la... No, now I lost. Hola, me llamo Joe. Esta cerca de vinil de Bradford. yeah, right. Perfect. All right, so we're doing this vinyl picket, but with it, these pickets or these holes in the rail are cut at a specific distance. Here it's 1 3/4 inches. So with that, we have to be very strategic on how far we set our posts apart, because if we set our post at an odd spacing and it throws off our picket spacing, it could make it all jacked up. So you can see this is actually one of our cut sections. We had to move this post because of the roots of this tree. And you can see when we laid it out, we actually made specific notes of the distance that we needed to set these posts in order to work with our pickets. So you can see they pulled 2 pickets out and then cut it at the appropriate length to fit here. And then now the way we've mapped it out, you can see once it's in, it gives us the correct spacing between the post and the pickets. And then obviously these are set spacing, but then the correct spacing on each end between the picket and the post. And so yeah, our process for that is we start with what the distance would be for a full section, and then we determine exactly what a space and a picket would be, and then we try to go down or adjust down specifically in a distance that's divisible by 1 space and 1 picket width. And in this case, those are 3-inch pickets and 1 3/4 inch spacing. So we try to adjust by that 4 3/4 amount, either up or down, to get the correct space. All right, so here at the gate is a really good example of us having to do prior planning and strategy for a section that is going to be less than a full section, but so we need to make sure our spacing is right. But we have a couple of constraints here. We have this sidewalk and a latch post that has to be right here at the edge of this sidewalk, but then we've got a certain distance from here to the house, and we can't leave too much of a gap between the house. So now if we would have just randomly thrown this post here by the sidewalk and this one all the way up against the house, it could have screwed up our spacing. So what we did here is we looked at our panels, we did our math to figure out the ideal spacing. Then we knew we had to be here for the gate, so we started here and set it, and then came back and measured and set this one, and we confirmed it was going to be not too much of a gap between the house and the post. So like right now we're at like 1.5 inches, so that's great. That's no more than the spacing in the pickets. And then once we put this section in, you'll see that it's spaced out perfectly for 10 pickets and 11 1 3/4 inch spacing. So I'll show you that on a panel. Like right now we got almost 50 inches. If you take a look at one of these panels, just as an example, it goes from our space here all the way 50 inches would be right up on the edge of that picket, so that post would be right there. So it works out to be an exact number of pickets and the proper spacing. Why that's important though, or what's the problem? The problem if you don't map that out correctly is, one, you could have something where and this would be that your picket is like all the way up against the post or doesn't have the proper spacing, or worst case scenario, it could be that you've got too much spacing between here and the post, and then you would have to either pull a picket and have part of an exposed hole, which wouldn't look good, and too big of a gap, or you would have to rip a picket and do some kind of funky little piece up against the post, which again would look out of place and throw off your aesthetic and design of this picket fence. Okay, another important aspect of planning for setting your post is the gap at the bottom. And this is real important to a lot of people, really on both sides of things. One, either people want a decent amount of gap here for maintenance, weed eating, maybe even water flow, But more often than not, people have pets and are concerned with pets either getting out underneath or digging out. And that's the case here. They have, I believe it's some beagles, but some smaller-ish dogs that they don't want to get out or dig out. So we strategically planned our post setting in order to keep this bottom rail close to the ground. So we've mapped this out and set our post to try to keep at either 2 inches or less below this fence once these rails go in. All right guys, thanks for checking out this fence with us today. I hope that was helpful. Make sure and like this video, it helps us out a ton, and subscribe to the channel for more fences just like this.